So for those of us who are here for the first time, just sharing a little intention behind these sessions. So we kind of experimented with our own selves and found out that it's beautiful if there is a continuity in identifying who we truly are, like the practice of stabilizing in who we truly are, because we do often very easily get swayed and identified with thoughts, stories in the head, feelings, whatever is going on in the external situations. So it's really very helpful if we have a continuity in our practice, whether it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, doesn't matter, but just a continuity that every day for 5 minutes, I know myself as my true self. And not only theoretically, but also in practice. And that's what we try to do here together. Like in the morning, Mondays, listening to something which reminds us of our true nature so that we can settle down there as our true self knowingly, and the week can carry the traces of that. So it's not to say that this is only to be done on Monday. I'm sure everybody has their own, a little practice at home. So just to have a continuity every day also, I believe is very, very important. Otherwise, it doesn't take much to be lost again in the head, in the stories. And yeah. So yeah, good morning, everyone. Sulakshna ji, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Gurpreet ji is also here today. Thank you for joining, Gurpreet ji, after a very long time. Jayashri, Chandrasekhar, yeah. And two more, I think there are two more phones I can see. I can't see the names on it, Samsung and Oppo. So
Rakhi and Rakhi.
Rakhi, okay. Welcome, Rakhi. Yeah. Great. So thank you for joining. It takes really lots of push to join, and I'm glad, we are really, really glad that you are here. Okay, so I'll play a short clip first and then a longer clip later. And after the short clip, we'll meditate for a few moments and then we'll listen to the longer one and reflect upon that later. So tell me if, Taru, you'll tell me if I've missed out on something. You want to add on anything?
No, that was perfect. Let's start. Thank you.
Yeah, so you, please, anyone let me know, because this is a little technical. I'm playing the computer video and sound. So if nothing comes, you let me know. If things are coming, good, we are okay. But if nothing comes, you let me know. So you should be able to hear the sound of the video that I play for you. I've not yet started.
Trying to make the point that nothing is fixed like that. And he comes up with philosophical reasonings why they can't be. But without going into those reasonings right now, the main point is you and I, it's just very natural for us and instinctive almost for us at the knee-jerk level that we want something solid to hold on to. We would like to believe that there is something that is independent, that is permanent, that we can grasp onto and we can always depend on it. Like, you know, all this messiness of life is going on, but there's something that, that we can rely on that isn't like that, that is free from that. But the Buddhist teachings actually say there is nothing solid and graspable and reliable in that sense. That the sense of inner strength and compassion and flexibility and openness of mind and heart comes from becoming more comfortable with groundlessness, becoming more comfortable with the fact that that people and things are always shifting and changing, that is the nature of reality, and rather than that being bad news and unsettling, it actually frees us up to see each moment as unique and fresh, and each personal encounter as happening for the first time. Even in family dynamics where we could keep a notebook and say, this is not happening for the first time, this is actually happening for the, let's see, 2,000,017th time. Oh, make that 2,018th. And because it's such a fixed pattern that with this particular sibling or this particular parent or something, it just always happens. But these teachings say, no, they aren't fixed that way and you aren't fixed that way. The patterns continue because you keep doing them. But the whole thing could start to unwind and go in the opposite direction. But it does mean practicing with fearlessness, coming to know the nature of the fear, coming to know the nature of the pain, which means staying present with the restlessness of the energy and the rawness of the energy, rather than just always saying or doing the habitual thing.
So I'm going to play this again because she's a bit fast and the content is very crisp and intense. I'm just going to play this part again. It's very short, so I'm taking the liberty. Yeah.
He's trying to make the point that nothing is fixed like that. And he comes up with philosophical reasonings why they can't be. But without going into those reasonings right now, the main point is you and I, it's just very natural for us and instinctive almost for us at the knee-jerk level that we want something solid to hold on to. We would like to believe that there is something that is independent, that is permanent, that we can grasp onto and we can always depend on it. Like, all this messiness of life is going on, but there's something that we can rely on that isn't like that, that is free from that. But the Buddhist teachings actually say there is nothing solid and graspable and reliable in that sense, that the sense of inner strength and compassion and flexibility and openness of mind and heart comes from becoming more comfortable with groundlessness, becoming more comfortable with the fact that that people and things are always shifting and changing, that is the nature of reality, and rather than that being bad news and unsettling, it actually frees us up to see each moment as unique and fresh, and each personal encounter as happening for the first time. Even in family dynamics where we could keep a notebook and say, this is not happening for the first time, this is actually happening for the, let's see, 2,000,017th time. Oh, make that 2,018th. And because it's such a fixed pattern that with this particular sibling or this particular parent or something, it just always happens. But these teachings say, no, they aren't fixed that way and you aren't fixed that way. The patterns continue because you keep doing them. Mm-hmm. But the whole thing could start to unwind and go in the opposite direction. But it does mean practicing with fearlessness, coming to know the nature of the fear, coming to know the nature of the pain, which means staying present with the restlessness of the energy and the rawness of the energy, rather than just always saying or doing the habitual thing.
So resting with the groundlessness, so let's reflect or meditate over this, being okay in the uncertainties of life, whether it's your best friend, closest companion, sibling, parent, everything is really fleeting situations. So we'll just focus on the breath, coming back to the breath. why we come back to the breath is not because there is a kind of a maybe hidden something there, but breath is something which is continuing for the whole day and night, and yet we are unconscious of it. So just to have this element of consciousness in the foreground, that I'm consciously breathing. So instead of thoughts, stories, ideas, opinions, I have consciousness in the foreground. I'm knowing myself as more as this consciousness. Being conscious of being conscious. And if we get lost in the thoughts, we'll bring our consciousness back to the breath. And this we are going to do for 5 minutes. Every time you get lost, bring attention back to the breath. Clinging to the breath rather than clinging to our stories. Their stories may appear very glittery, as if like they are calling you to think about them. But if you had thought about them enough, you know that there is nothing lying there. There's no fun in most of the repetitive stories that go on. And that's why in that awareness, coming back to the breath. And then focusing now, it's too short, yet just kind of sharing that if we have stayed long enough with the breath, then we turn our focus towards the awareness which is aware of the breath. So we become aware that we are aware, and we rest in that awareness as that awareness. I am aware. Each particle of the body is aware. Listening to the sounds you may be hearing, it's just because of this background awareness that we can. So focusing not much on the content of awareness, but on awareness. So last 2 minutes more, we'll do this for 2 minutes more and then we'll end. So you are taking the throne as awareness in your being. Knowingly taking the throne as awareness. So yes, if there are any reflections on what we heard, that the things continue to repeat themselves just because we expect them to be the same all the time. So the moment we change our inner being, the moment I shift my own consciousness from within, things outwardly also begin to change. But then the intention cannot be that, look, I have changed, but the outer thing has not yet changed. That cannot be the intention. Irrespective, when we work on our inner being and we shift our consciousness as we did in the meditation, knowingly taking stance as awareness, as consciousness, rather than lost in the thoughts and feelings, things slowly begin to also change in the external situations which have been repeating for a lifetime. So if anyone wants to, give any reflections, thoughts on that one, most welcome. Has anyone seen the movie Groundhog Day? It's a very popular kind of an old movie, Groundhog Day. It's a good movie in a sense that this guy always keeps on falling in the same ditch every time he buys a coffee from a store. And it's a very good representation of one day, every day the things are repeating itself. The weather is the same. He always spills the coffee. And then suddenly one day he changes and the things also change. I don't know if anyone has seen that. It's a good movie to watch. Have you seen that, Taru?
No, but the clip is sounding familiar, but I don't remember seeing this movie. But I've heard about it. It's, I think, quite popular. Yeah.
What's the name of the movie?
It's The Groundhog Day. I'll type it in the chat window.
Yeah, I just wanted to reflect on why I would feel that things are permanent. Like, how it's like my life is going a certain way and then something happened and changed it. Like, first of all, my assumption that every day is same, which it feels same. And yet here she was saying that it's same because I remain the same all the time. And it's really strange that sometimes, we are not okay with a certain situation or say a place, a location, a person. And yet with time, how they say time takes care of everything. So I wonder if it's a good thing or a bad thing, because sometimes I feel a certain inertness because of that as well. That, okay, I mean, even if say we are not okay in something and yet if I've spent some time in it, it seems okay. Like just that. And those temporary zones of permanence in the impermanence. I keep on looking for a ground, like he was saying, to stand on. As if, I mean, they say that our life is not even a chapter in our soul's journey, like one birth. It's one page, it's not even a chapter. And yet, I keep looking for, that this is it. Now, this is what I do, this is what I am, this is how I live, this is what I like. I don't even, I mean, it's like it's a script that I want to follow until something really big changes and I have to relook at the script. Otherwise, if left to me, I wouldn't do that. I would just want things and myself to be same. Just it's interesting and it's strange why I would not want newness or change. And yet everything, a lot of things that I do, like looking for vacation, going out for, I don't know, eating or something, shows that I do want change, I do want newness. And yet I would want the episodes, the days of my life to be almost same. That kind of gives me a stability. But isn't that very false, that stability? Just questioning that the stability that I'm always trying to cling to and saying that this is me and this is my life, how true is it? Yeah, just that. Thank you.
Yeah, anyone wants to add on anything? So I think it turns out, as you were sharing, Taru, that we are all looking for that stability. It's not that we are not looking, but usually at the places where we don't get it. And it is said by masters, mystics, Mother Sri Aurobindo also say this, that uh, our true self, our true consciousness is the ultimate stability that we are looking for, the unchanging stability. So I think it just kind of brings us back again, that if we really want to be stable, which all of us would like to, first of all, knowing that the world as we see through senses, it's ephemeral, it's fleeting, and not to look for it now there, because we have done that enough. And to find something absolutely stable, which is always 24/7 present. It's not that we don't have a glimpse of it. And to know ourselves as that, I think that has been the idea of enlightenment or self-realization, that know who we truly are. And if we don't know this, it's like I am puppeting myself around. It seems that situations are puppeting me around, but it's me who is not giving up, as you said, that always expecting the same, and just being puppeted around in the monotony of the life. And no one can be happy there, because that's not our true nature. We cannot be happy. We cannot be content in that kind of a false living, if one can say, since it's not our true nature where we live most of the times. Thoughts are fleeting, feelings are fleeting, stories in the head are fleeting. But even there, we give solidity to them. We, as she was sharing, that if a sibling has been doing this for 200 millionth time, then I am the one who is giving it a solidity, that yes, ye to hamesha aisa hi karta hai, and that's why he never changes. I'm not able to see that I am also the part of the game. I am not standing next to a happening. I am making the happening happen. This we don't see somehow. Yeah.
Monica, may I say something,
Please. Yes, please. Yeah.
I mean, like, of course, I've heard that nothing is coincidental. I was going to say that this Groundhog Day that you mentioned, highly coincidental, because this is just what is happening with me. I have this tendency of, always getting easily influenced and doing things which I might regret later. Like, as in, to give a very, very basic example, I was buying some upholstery. And some time back also, when I had changed it, I had bought a very light color, which would get dirty very fast, and I regretted it. And this time, though I went with the thought of buying something, which would be more neutral, I ended up buying a light thing again. So, and I was asking myself again and again, what is this about me? This tendency which always does the same thing and the same regrets, and easily influenced by whoever goes with me. And I don't know how to handle it. I mean, like you said, about exactly like the Groundhog Day, how do I change myself? How do I understand what's going on? Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Sulakshana ji. I think most of us can resonate with what you shared. Thank you for sharing. Yeah.
But how do I work on myself? The change that you're talking of, like you said in the Groundhog Day, finally he changes himself.
Yeah.
Something within me tells me that, there has to be some change.
Yeah, there
But
has
I
to
think
be.
I'm
Yes.
seeking for the change outside. I think I'm thinking कि कुछ बाहर से आके मेरे को बदल देगा. You know, I just don't know what to do about it.
I think not only you, Sulakshana ji, none of us usually have a clue what to do about this. But I think it's good that we begin to suffer of this kind of living, because only because of suffering we are compelled to change. Otherwise, we can, as Taru was sharing, I just continue with to live like that, because I would say, okay, time will change things. But time doesn't change things only by itself. I have to put in my effort. And as we are doing in these sessions and other sessions also, that the basic effort that we need to do, it's not the first thing ever said. People have been saying it for years, ages, in every different way. Know who you truly are. Without that, we cannot make this shift. I am not the thought that I see. For example, a thought about a sibling may appear. I am the awareness with which the thought is seen. Usually we are so lost that my immediate attention the moment a thought appears, it's a habitual thought, it appears, and it is so attractive that I get lost into it. Like I'm drawn into it. It's very magnetic. For all of us, thoughts are very magnetic, especially some kind of thoughts about some special people in my life. And I give in to I lose the sense of being awareness, and I go into the thought, get lost in the forest of thought, as they say. And it's not that I lose being awareness. We are always the awareness, but knowingly, I don't know that I am the awareness. That's why they say that the true essence that we are, essence is something which is a absolute essential part of the being. Like a flower cannot be separated from its fragrance. So we cannot be separated from our awareness, which is our true nature. But if I am not aware of awareness, me being awareness, I mean, what's the fun? If I'm always finding myself lost in the drama of stories and thoughts, what is the fun of me being awareness if I can't have the joy of being the king, or as we were saying earlier, having the throne of the being? Awareness is the king of the being. So you're saying that, what do I do? And I think this is a question everyone asks our own selves. What do I do? How to get out of this situation, this repetitive mode of living? The only practice that we have to do here is, whenever a thought arises, whenever a feeling arises, which is very sticky in nature, immediately to know myself as awareness. And it's not a passive state. It may appear like a passive state in the beginning. Oh, so I don't do anything. I'm aware of being awareness, and thoughts and feelings come and go. No, it's not like that. When we take the stance as being awareness, the right action gets done. The wrong repeated actions that we have been doing, they don't get done, because now awareness also has a discrimination. Awareness has also a quality of love. It has a quality of compassion. So all the actions which I was doing earlier in my blindness of not being aware of me being awareness, now they get taken, and hence the life changes. And I am unaware of any other way that one can find how to shift it. We have to know who we truly are. We cannot live in this ignorance for ages and lifetimes. This awakening has to happen. There is no other way. The kind of tools may be many, methods may be many, definitely infinite number of methods. But the crux is one.
Monica, may I add something?
Yes, Gurpreet, please.
Monica, I was just thinking about what Sulakshana just said. Actually, I think we're not able to break the pattern. We get so secured in it, and we're not ready to face the change, wherein, change is inevitable. We keep hearing that. And we get stuck up in that pattern. So I think we need to it is all driving us to become more fearless. If we break the pattern and see actually what happens, because, we are all scared. We don't break the pattern because we feel, oh, kya ho jayega. But I think once we should take that stance, choti cheezon, basic things, basic examples, you break the pattern and see what happens and live with it. Because I think itna kuch bura nahi hota hai. We just keep getting scared, but actually nothing that big happens. So this is one very practical way of doing it. To answer to what Sulakshana was saying, just go with it and break the pattern and see actually what happens. Yeah.
Yes, so we also had a longer clip to share, but Taru is suggesting that we don't look at it today because it's a longer one. So maybe next Monday. Yeah, Taru, you want to add on something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that for me, one thing that really stuck out was that, you know, I think that I already know. You know, when I say about the sibling example, you know, I don't meet my sibling, my images, I already know this is how she'll react. I already know this is what he'll say. You know, if this will happen, she'll do this. This is what she'll drink. This is what she'll eat. You know, it's like I never meet the person. My box of thinking and knowing, a rigid box almost, meets another image. And then I say, oh, nothing changes. And I've had the blessing of, you know, conversing with such images, right? Like, say, if I think that this person does this because of this, and, you know, and when I spoke to that person, that wasn't true at all. Like, you know, she or he was coming from a different center, but I, sitting where I was sitting, was thinking for them and me. Like, first of all, how arrogant is that and how naive. So just for me, it really helped when I am more and more, not help, but helps when I'm realizing that I don't know. Because if I come from a space that I already know, I can never change, right? There is no need for change. But when I keep seeing that what I know is not true, it's not that it might not be true. I mean, just talking about my life and my example, I want to say that it is not true. So instead of sitting and living my stories, if I can have a little bit of freshness, you know, it's like again about that upholstery example. You know, if I don't go to buy, if I just take it like as an, you know, a small thing, like as an adventure, let's see what I see today. You know, with the freshness, with the newness, what do I like, what do I kind of a thing. So it has a scope of then being more than what I am. But how can I ever be more than I am if I am already very content and fully agreeing that yes, I am the best and this is what it is, and you know, I am good and everybody else is a problem. So yeah, thank you.
I think that would be one of the, you know, reasons why teachers have said that to hold things very lightly, you know, holding our opinions, ideas. We may have opinions, and everyone has, you know, as you're sharing. So about a person, I may have opinions, but not to give too much seriousness to my opinions, like holding them very gently and lightly, just like we hold water in the palms. You know, if I hold water like this, there's no water going to stay in my palms. But if I hold water like this, you know, like very gently, then the water stays. So I have opinions, I have ideas, but I'm not knowing whether they are, as you said, you know, whether they are true, you know, what kind of truth there is in my ideas. And everything is relative, everything keeps on changing. And such is the same with my ideas and opinions, they also keep on changing. So to not give solidity to those things in the head, and to see that, okay, I'm sticking to this idea, okay, let me hold it very gently, you know, let me not buy into it fully. And hence you said that opening to that breath of fresh air, that okay, opening to the newness of life in that holding gently. And they also shared that love is holding gently. Love is holding very, very gently, that if I am holding a puppy in my hand, if I hold too tight, he would not be comfortable. He'd want to run away. And if I hold just gently enough, not too tight, not too loose, then he would stay, you know, for as long as he wants to. Same with our relationships, I believe, especially the close ones. that we try to cling on to them too tightly, that ये तो मेरा हो गया और अब इसी से मुझे सुख मिलेगा, but वो सुख कब दुख में change हो जाता है owing to my grip, I don't even realize. And the moment I'm ready to make it appear like a very loose, gentle grip, it's not that I have lost it. It's not I have like holding tightly. तो पकड़ा हुआ है, नहीं पकड़ा हुआ कुछ कह नहीं सकते, उसके बीच का है. पकड़ा भी नहीं हुआ कह सकते, पकड़ा हुआ है ये भी कह सकते. So one cannot put a definition to it. And there we give everything in our life, our ideas, our opinions, our relationships, our own self, in fact, a kind of a breath of fresh air. I think this is what is our birthright. We all deserve this breath of fresh air every day, not only once in a blue moon, but every day if we can hold our opinions, ideas, thoughts about others, myself, very gently, not to give too much tawajjo in Urdu, tawajjo kehte hain mere khayal se, not to give too much of priority to them. I think really helps, as you were saying. Yeah.
I think just like, what we were discussing the other day, it will be a good place to add it here. Like whenever I have a very strong opinion, like you were saying in the beginning, right? Whenever I see myself sticking to something, just gently asking, is that true? Generally like, okay, no, he always does it. And just, there, just like, is that true? And something in me would say, yes, it is true. And, maybe just ask us again, that are you 100% or it's true? Something like this. It's funny when I talk about it, but when you are doing it, right? Because this, I don't know, maybe my ego wants to say that I know. But when you actually factually ask, are you sure that's the reason why that person is doing it? You'll be like, no, I don't know, right? That's my assumption or perception. That's what they are doing. So I like not taking yourself too seriously, your opinions too seriously, and what you think, right? Like, of course, that's opinions too. So just putting that question, that ripple and that still water, that I feel this is it, that this is the truth, but just poking it a bit, that is it is very helpful in not taking things heavy and seriously.
Yeah, totally resonates. And I also felt that whenever I'm giving more solidity to the ideas in the head about people, situations, or my own self, I actually lose my center. As if my focus goes away from myself, because something else has become now more important than my sanity and that inner stability. So this I have experienced again and again. And the moment I lose it, hold it gently, and as you were saying that, okay, maybe it's true, maybe it's not true, I don't have to focus much on that. In that very moment, the attention comes back to myself. So there is something more prior to attend to rather than what is fleeting. And yeah, that really helps. Yes. Yeah, so any last thoughts, any last comments? There is also a practice of mindfulness bell in some traditions, where every few hours or every hour there is a ton and your focus comes back to your breath. I think that is something which can be done practically daily. So just maybe setting up an alarm, using the phone for a good reason. We use phone for many, many reasons. So we can put an alarm, or maybe reminding people in your house that, okay, let's, maybe setting up an alarm on Alexa to remind ourselves of the breath. That if in case, which we mostly are, we are lost in the forests of thought, we come back to the breath here and now again. Yeah, so that can be done also. So being open, it's like really beautiful what you were sharing, that being open to this breath of fresh air every day, because that's where we struggle, most of us, that life has become dull, monotonous, and there's nothing new in life. because we hardly have any space for new. We are holding so tightly to the old that new wants to come, but I don't want, I'm not ready to let it come. The doors are closed. But the moment is opening happen in between, like glimpses of opening, newness comes in, as if it was waiting to come in. So wishing us all a life full of unfolding. I think it would not be exaggeration to say that it can happen right away. It's just that I have to be ready. And yeah, have a good week ahead, all of us. And yeah, stay within and enjoy. Thank you for joining today. If there is anything
Wanted
more.
to say thank you so much,
Thank you.
Monica. Thank you, Taru. Thank you, Gurpreet ji.
Thank you for
Thank
joining.
you so much.
Every sharing is going to
You are
help.
welcome.
Thank you.
Wonderful
God
week.
bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you, Monica.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.